Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really cutting through the noise on something escalating very fast.
Yeah.
This labor dispute at Air Canada,
hmm
a strike, maybe a lockout, it's right on the horizon. And the impact, well, it could hit countless travel plans immediately, very widely. We want to give you the clearest picture of what's happening and, crucially, what it means for you.
That's exactly right. And what's really vital to grasp is just how quickly this whole thing is moving. It's almost real time.
Yeah.
So our mission here in this deep dive is basically to break down the essential details, help you understand the ripples this is going to send through, well, everything travel related, and most importantly, equip you with some key guidance, especially if you have flights booked soon. We've really tried to distill the most pressing info from advisories, news updates, just so you get the vital facts without feeling overloaded.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain then. Because this situation, it started quietly, but now it's threatening to just completely upend travel for potentially hundreds of thousands of people. We're diving straight into the heart of it. An imminent strike by Air Canada flight attendants. They're represented by CUPE, the Canadian Union of Public Employees.
Right.
And in response, Air Canada's issued its own notice, a company-imposed lockout. The clock is seriously ticking here. A 72-hour strike notice is out. That means a walkout is currently set for Saturday around 1 a.m. Eastern Time.
And the why now question, well, it really boils down to this 8-month stalemate. Negotiations just haven't gone anywhere.
5 months, wow.
Yeah. At its core, the union is fighting for better wages, naturally, but also, and this is significant, compensation for ground duties.
Ground duties, like what does that cover exactly?
Well, these are the really crucial tasks flight attendants do before takeoff. Think safety checks, helping with boarding, things they argue they aren't properly paid for right now.
Okay.
Air Canada, now, their side is they've put forward an offer. It's a 38% total compensation bump over 4 years. Sounds pretty substantial.
38%, yeah, that sounds like a big number.
It does, but what's really intriguing here is CUPE's counter. They're saying it still falls short. They're citing, persistent inflation, comparing it to market benchmarks for similar jobs.
Inflation. That changes the game.
It totally does. This isn't just a standard negotiation, it feels like. It's like watching how inflation is fundamentally reshaping what labor demands. The union's basically saying, look, our baseline, our cost of living, it's shifted.
No?
Meanwhile, Air Canada is, grappling with putting forward an offer that historically might look generous, but it's being measured against this constantly moving target.
And the impact, I mean, these numbers are just staggering. You hear figures like up to 130,000 passengers per day could be affected.
Okay, yeah.
When you try to picture that,
Yeah.
is it just about the direct flight cancellations? Or are we looking at a kind of domino effect, like across connecting flights, maybe even hitting other airlines that, rely on Air Canada's network?
That's a really excellent point because while the direct cancellations are huge, I mean, by Friday, today, 500 flights were already expected to be grounded.
500.
Right. But the impact, it stretches way beyond that. We are absolutely talking about a massive ripple effect.
Okay.
The sheer number of passengers caught up in this means, a cascade of missed connections, total rebooking nightmares, potentially widespread delays, even for people flying on partner airlines. And what's particularly sobering, I think, is that estimate, that as many as 25,000 passengers who are currently abroad might actually get stranded.
Wow. 25,000.
Imagine that. You're halfway through, I don't know, a dream vacation or maybe an urgent business trip, and suddenly you're facing that level of uncertainty.
25,000 potentially stranded. I just can't imagine the stress, especially if you're, on that long-awaited family holiday or something.
Exactly.
Have we seen any early signs of what this sort of disruption does to, passenger trust beyond the obvious immediate financial hit?
Oh, it's definitely a significant blow to trust. That's a much longer-term concern for any airline, really. And beyond the passenger experience, you've got business groups already voicing these economy-wide concerns.
Right, the bigger picture.
Yeah. A strike hitting right in the absolute peak of summer travel. It threatens not just the vital tourism sector, but also critical cargo movement.
Cargo? I hadn't even thought much about that.
Yeah, it's crucial. We're talking essential goods, things like pharmaceuticals, perishable foods. They rely on timely air transport, and that has a direct knock-on effect for countless small businesses. They depend on these flights for their supply chains, their day-to-day operations.
Okay, so with so much really on the line here, it's probably no surprise the government has stepped in. What's their approach been to try and, cool this down? Have we seen any movement from either side because of that pressure?
Well, the federal jobs minister, Patty Haju, she's certainly gotten involved. She's been urging both sides, get back to the bargaining table, work with mediators.
Standard procedure, sort of.
Kind of, but what's noteworthy here are the contrasting approaches to actually resolving it. Air Canada has gone a step further. They've actually requested government-imposed arbitration.
Arbitration, how does
Yeah.
that work?
They're using Section 107 of the Canada Labour Code. You can think of Section 107 as like the government's strongest tool to step in. It lets them appoint an independent arbitrator whose decision becomes legally binding.
Binding, okay.
Yeah, it effectively forces both sides to accept whatever resolution the arbitrator comes up with. It's a move usually saved for disputes that have, a really significant public impact.
And the union's take on that?
Well, the union has a strong counter stance. They much prefer a negotiated settlement. They want to hammer it out themselves.
So they don't want arbitration.
Seems not. And this isn't just about, procedure. It's really a strategic battle over who gets to control the outcome. Are you willing to gamble on an impartial third-party decision, or do you want to fight for every last point yourself at the table?
Right. So, okay, the big question then. What does all this actually mean for you if you're traveling or if you have plans coming up? This is where it really hits home for a lot of listeners.
Yep.
We need to talk about your rights, specifically under the Air Passenger Protection Regulations, the APPR. Now, crucially, under these rules, strikes and lockouts, they're considered events outside the carrier's control.
That's the key phrase.
And that feels like a real, a gut punch for passengers, doesn't it? Especially when you might be left without accommodation or meals covered. Is there any argument that a labor dispute, even if it's a strike, is something an airline should be more prepared for or maybe liable for, given they're the ones negotiating the contract?
That's a really fair point, and honestly, it's a deeply debated one within passenger rights circles. That specific definition that strikes are outside the carrier's control is actually quite controversial,
I bet.
especially, like you said, when airlines are negotiating the very contracts that can lead to these disputes. A lot of passenger advocates are pushing hard to reform that legal gray area.
Okay.
But as the rules stand right now, that distinction really dictates what your options are under APPR. So travelers essentially have two main choices.
Okay, what are they?
Option 1 is rebooking. You're entitled to get rebooked for free on the next available flight. That could be with Air Canada itself or one of its partner airlines like United, even if it means you end up in an upgraded class of service.
Okay, free rebooking.
Yes, but, and this is the important part because it's deemed outside the carrier's control, there is no entitlement under APPR to meals or lodging or any additional monetary compensation in these specific circumstances.
No hotel voucher, no meal money.
Exactly. Think of it like this. If a massive, unexpected blizzard shuts down the airport, airlines aren't typically required to put everyone up in hotels under APPR. In the eyes of these regulations, a labor dispute classified this way falls into that same category for compensation. It's a tough pill for passengers to swallow, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. What's the second option?
Your second option under APPR is just getting a full refund for your ticket. The airline has to process that within 30 days.
A straight refund.
Yes. And one small detail that sometimes catches people out. If you're already partway through your journey when the cancellation happens, the airline must fly you back to your starting point, free of charge.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Free flight back if you're already en route.
Correct. Now, beyond the official APPR rules, Air Canada is also offering what they're calling goodwill measures.
Goodwill? What does that entail?
These include offering full refunds or fee-waived rebooking specifically onto flights scheduled between August 21st and September 12th. So a bit of flexibility there.
Okay.
It's also worth mentioning that United Airlines, since they're a Star Alliance partner with Air Canada, they're stepping up too. They're helping stranded passengers and waiving change fees, at least through August 27th.
Good on United.
Yeah. And one final sort of nuance. If your travel involves certain regions, say the UK or the EU, their own passenger rights laws might actually offer you more protection.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, potentially things like requiring the airline to provide meals and hotel accommodation, which goes beyond what APPR mandates in this outside control strike situation. So it's always worth checking the specific regulations for your particular itinerary.
Right. Definitely check the rules for where you're flying to or from.
Yeah.
Okay, so given all of that, what should you do, right now, if you think you might be affected?
Okay, practical steps.
Yeah. First, monitor your flight status, obsessively. Check your email, check the Air Canada app, check their website constantly. Things can change fast.
Crucial.
Second, if your flight is actually canceled, you need to exercise those options we talked about, the rebooking or the refund immediately. Don't wait around. Time is really of the essence here.
Absolutely act fast.
And finally, I'd say strongly consider looking at alternatives. Are there other airlines flying that route? Is a train maybe an option, especially if you're traveling from or within Canada? Just having a plan B ready could save you a massive headache.
Good advice. Backup plans are key in situations like this.
So this has been a pretty rapid deep dive into a very immediate, very fluid situation that affects so many people. The bottom line seems to be stay informed and act quickly.
Absolutely. And this whole situation, it really underscores this complex interplay, doesn't it? Between labor negotiations, economic stability, and just individual traveler rights.
It really does.
And given what we've discussed about these different regulations, especially that very specific outside the carrier's control definition, it makes you wonder, perhaps a thought for you to mull over. How do you think global travel would actually be impacted if those definitions were to shift universally? Say, if airlines were held perhaps more liable for all kinds of disruptions, including these.
That's a really thought-provoking question to consider, especially as you navigate your own journeys. Thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive today. Keep exploring, keep learning, and please stay safe out there.